I got an agent last year, and I have moved around a lot since I got signed to this agency. So I haven't really had time to focus on the damn proposal because I kept getting kicked out of places and having to move.
Oh,
So
wait, where do you live? Are you in Virginia or are you in New York?
I'm in Texas.
What? I don't
I've
know why
been
I thought you were in New York.
I live in and I am from New York, but I have moved. When I was in New York, I had moved 3 times. And then I came here because I didn't know how severe COVID was. So I was like, okay, so I'm going to visit my friend for a week or two and then I'll go back home. That was March 8th. It is now May 10th. And I've been here since March.
Damn. But like totally by accident, not because like you wanted to be there.
Yeah. Not, I mean, now it's fine, but it was just a safer option to stay here. And then like when I was making preparations to go home, it was like, okay, so flights are doing this and that. Flights are not going in. You can't drive in. You can't do this. You can't do that. So it was just safer to stay here. But now it looks like I'll be here a lot longer than anticipated because things are getting dangerous again and flights are just not safe. Unless I take the bus from Texas to New York, which I don't feel like doing.
Yeah, no, that's a little bit too much for what's going on right now.
And the train is like super expensive.
Oh, I believe
Train is
it.
like
Like, I didn't even know that you can take a train from Texas to New York, but okay. Like,
you can, but it's like $1,000.
oh,
And
stay in Texas. Where in? I don't know if you care to say.
I'm in Austin.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, you're in a good part. I mean, there's good people in Austin for the most part. Like, there's like a small Black community in Austin. You know, I know it's like super
Yeah,
white over there, but like, you know, when you do find Black people, they're good.
but also like Texas has kind of opened up fairly quickly. Like the movie theater opened, the mall opened, the bowling alley, the club.
Oh.
People not social distancing, people getting in my face.
People aren't social
People,
distancing here either. Like, it's like really crazy how loose people are being with like this whole coronavirus situation. Like it's like nobody really cares, and then that's why we're gonna have to keep staying inside, and it's crazy.
but you know, part of that is people not listening. The other part is like law enforcement not really doing their part,
Mm-hmm.
um, and just harassing a selected few people
Mm-hmm.
instead of going after the main perpetrators. And that's just kind of what's happening right now. Like, and it sucks. And every time I think about going or moving to another city, I get terrified because people at airports are disgusting, and
Yep.
I don't want to even think about it. I get anxiety um, just thinking about it. But have you been watching any? I guess to shift gears, have you been watching any anime in particular that's been keeping you sane? Sort of.
I've been rewatching a lot of old stuff. But as far as like newer anime, because like the thing that I'm working on requires me to like watch a bunch of like old, well not old, but like more like golden age anime basically. And so yeah, I've been watching. I rewatched Afro Samurai the other day, and I was like, wow, nobody talks about Afro Samurai and like how iconic it really is. Like it's like the first of its kind, literally. Um, and so I was just like, damn, like this is like only a couple episodes and like maybe a movie, but like this is like iconic. Like Samuel L. Jackson is in it, Lucy Liu. Like there's like so much. I don't know if you've ever seen it. I assume like all Black anime fans have at some point Afro
I've seen
Samurai.
it.
If you haven't, get on it. But yeah, I'm just like I don't. This anime does not get enough praise at all. Like it's so good, so good. Like the animation and the storyline and the respect, how they respect Black culture. Like you actually like see the respect for Black culture um, throughout the whole series. So it's like I don't know. But aside from that, finishing my rewatch of Yu Yu Hakusho because I love me some Yu Yu Hakusho. Spirit Gun to the day I die. But what else? Yeah, that's pretty much it right now. I was watching like The Plunderer, which is like it's a pretty cool. It's a cute little anime. It's like it's really like quirky and like not what I expected it to be, but I'm trying to give it a chance because everybody's been like, "Oh, I love this anime," and I'm just like, "Okay, cool. I'll give it a chance." So like I'm on like episode 3 of that right now. But yeah, that's pretty much me. What about you? Like, what are you watching? I know we talked
I
about like
haven't.
really like weird ass anime that we stumbled upon.
Well, we'll get to that later. But
Okay.
I haven't watched a lot of new anime recently. I'm just going to be honest. I I tried to watch several new things and things that were popular, but I couldn't get into any of it. I couldn't get into One Punch Man. I did watch the first season of Attack on Titan, and it said I was going to return to it. Never did. I watched the first season of Seven Deadly Sins. Never returned to it. Devil Man Crybaby. I watched the whole thing of that nonsense and was disappointed again. So my foray in anime hasn't been lately. It's been real spotty. I don't know because people recommend stuff and then I watch it and then I don't like it. So I don't know what's good. A lot of the stuff I've been rewatching old stuff, and when I say old, I mean like from the 80s and the 90s. Like I rewatched Project A Code recently because it's one of my favorites. Project A Code versus B Code, C Code, whatever. Um, I watched Millennium Actress. I watched that like once a month. Um, and I watched season 2 of Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex. They have a new season out that I've been meaning to watch, but I don't like 3D animation for anime. I think it's ugly. Like it's just weird to like see 3D graphics and then the black outline outside of the characters and everything. So it's like, did you want to hand draw this or did you want to use it on a computer? What did you
I don't
want
know.
to
I
do?
feel like what they're doing for like Lupin the Third's movie is like I don't know. I feel like it looks pretty clean. I feel like it looks clean as fuck.
Now Lupin is different. But did you ever see the remake of Appleseed from 2007? I don't know. You might like it. I liked it, but the animation is really weird. It's like 3D animation with 2D details. I can't really explain it. But I believe that Appleseed was like started this new wave of design and style in reference to anime. It was something that I remember seeing that was real different. So a lot of the stuff I've been watching is like really super old, and I take pride in like I like vintage stuff. I just finished watching The Rose at First Sight, which is boring, but I still liked it because I remember reading the manga. But I want to tell you real quick because I'm curious to know how you got into anime first. But I'm gonna tell you a real quick story. I grew up I grew up in the Bronx, in New York, and I grew up in Harlem. When I was living in Harlem, back then anime was on Laserdisc. I'm dating myself. Laserdisc, and I remember being at the store. I was about 10 years old, and I remember being at the store, and this guy, he came up to me wearing a dragon. He came up to the counter where I'm standing wearing a Dragon Ball Z T-shirt, and so I asked him about it, and we started, chatting about anime, and he was like, "Hey, listen, I will. If you really want to watch some stuff, I will give you some stuff to watch that I think you'll like." So the first thing that he gave me was Dominion Tank Police, right? Which is one of like my favorite animes. I'm really bad with like director names and stuff like that, but Dominion Tank Police, it came out in 80. The first one came out in 89, and I think the second one came out in 92. I might have the years wrong, but that was the first one he gave me on VHS tape. So I watched it. Then somebody told me how the Sci-Fi Channel was showing anime at 10 o'clock every morning, every Saturday morning. So I get up and watch. Then I saw Tenchi Muyu. I saw Sailor Moon. I saw Akira. I saw all of those. Just watching the Sci-Fi Network. I met up with him again, and he was like, "I have another anime that you might like to see." And I was like, "Sure." So he gave me another tape, and I went home and watched it. And it was something. It was an anime called La Blue Girl.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard of it?
Nope.
La Blue Girl it was written by the guy who they call the father of tentacle porn. I forgot his name. Let me look it up. La Blue Girl is basically hentai. It's tentacle porn. It's about this woman who is a trained assassin. And it's just a mess. But let me see what his name is. Toshiro Maeda. That's the name of the writer of the anime and the director of the anime. So I got this tape and I'm watching this tentacle porn shit. And I was like, okay, well, maybe. I was like, okay, so that's the devil. I'm not watching this anymore. So I took like a 2-year break from anime until Sailor Moon started coming on TV and started watching it again. Now, I was like heavy into anime. Like at that point, I was going to junior high school. Had the Sailor Moon backpack. I had like Dragon Ball Z pens and all the stuff, and the kids would make fun of me and throw stuff at me and call me a nerd and all that stuff. And that's why I'm like, I'm kind of bitter, but I'm glad that like anime is like mainstream now, because when it wasn't, we was getting picked on.
And I never got picked on for liking anime. I got picked on for like other things, but like it was never for liking anime. Like anime was the one thing that actually made people want to talk to me because I drew so much. I drew like comics in class with like my classmates and shit. And, like the ones that I hated that like would pick on me, I made them villains, and like everybody thought this shit was cool. Like I literally still have my comics from middle school that I drew, and like. Everybody thought that shit was cool. And they'd be like, oh man, like when's the next chapter? Like, when am I gonna be in it? And like that was like the one thing that brought people to me in a positive, that made people see me in a positive light, which was like kind of nice for a while. But yeah, I don't know. I just never have had anybody like pick on me for liking anime. But I totally
remember this like 94, 93, 94. So this was like way before, like this was when we was watching a lot of anime on VHS. And so I still cling to a lot of those memories and to a lot of that content. I haven't really found anything that I've liked solely. It's outside of FMA Brotherhood. I haven't really liked anything post 2010. I liked Gangsta.
So like a lot of like the newer, slightly newer like shonen or like anime titles in general, you haven't like really you haven't like really found any like a title to like appreciate is basically what you're saying. I totally get that, because like honestly we grew up with like some of the best anime. Like I mean for me, like I'm a 90s baby, so like I know for sure like 90s babies, like we grew up with some of the like most fire shows that a lot of these new shows today are trying to emulate. So it's like when you see a lot of these new shows, you're just like, okay, yeah, well, like a lot of this newer generation is getting started with shows like Attack on Titan and like My Hero Academia. But before all that, like, we were shooting with Goku at the gym, and like we was like over here with like Sailor Moon when she was Serena,
and I was like, and I was watching Big O, and what else was I watching on I remember Big O being one of the big ones in the late 90s, early 2000s that I watched. And Fully Cooley and Inuyasha and all that. So I think I came up in a good time, and I think I kind of just, and I don't know if it's like selfishness or if I'm just being, I don't know, lazy. Like, I don't know. I'm just sort of, I think one of the things that sort of put a pause on it is that I noticed more episodic stuff was coming out. And I've never been an episodic person. Like, I like shows, but they have to be short. Like, I can't watch 600 episodes of Dragon Ball. That's just not, I just don't have, I'm not gonna do it. But like, some shows that I've watched have been like 30 episodes, 24 episodes, whatever. Just the whole thing, just one contained season, and I just move on. And so part of it is like the number and keeping up with the number of episodic television that was coming out. I just couldn't keep up with the shit. I tried to get into Kill la Kill, which I actually did like. I just never returned to it because I couldn't keep up with it. So, but you're right. Like, we grew up with some really great stuff. Like, what's some of your favorite stuff from that era? From like the 90s?
Like, my top fave to like this day is like Dragon Ball Z for sure. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. We can fight about it all day. Dragon Ball Z is my #1 anime. Sailor Moon, Sailor Moon. You know, I liked Sailor Moon a lot growing up, but like, I think like as I like grew older, Sailor Moon just didn't, because it was shoujo, and like I'm not like a huge like shoujo anime type person. Like, I'm not a magical girl type person. I think I like fell off from the Sailor Moon hype, and I just kind of like forgot about it, and then didn't care to like learn about it past what the Americans gave us. So
Right.
but yeah, like Yu Yu Hakusho, Rurouni Kenshin, Tenchi Muyo, Tenchi Universe, like all the Tenchi series, of course. Gundam series.
Tenchi used to hit. Oh my god.
You said what?
Tenchi used to hit.
Tenchi still slaps. Like, I was like watching it recently.
Like,
I was like, wait a minute. This, like, Ryoko was a baddie. Like, Ayeka. Like, this is like harem anime. Like, I think it's like one of the first, like, I could be wrong, but like I think it's like one of the first anime like that really went in on like the harem anime genre, which is like just like it's one guy living with like a bunch of hot girls.
Hot girls, a genre that I actually can't stand, but Tenchi was an exception. I don't know why. I guess I just really liked Tenchi, and I really liked Ryoko and a lot of the other characters. So I was able to tolerate. It was an exception I was willing to make. So I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Yeah, man, there's like so much. I'm trying to think. I mean, Outlaw Star. Like, there's just a lot. Like, they're all just like really, really good shows that a lot of these shows today are like really heavily inspired by. Like, I was watching Hunter x Hunter, which is like, I know Hunter x Hunter is like fairly, it's not new. It's like, you know, early 2000s, I think the anime came out. And there's like a 1999 version, obviously. And I think the manga came out in the 90s too. But I'm like watching Hunter x Hunter, and I'm like, dude, like, this is like Dragon Ball. There's like a lot of Dragon Ball inspired themes in this show. Like, you cannot tell me that the creator, I'm like, his name Togashi, I forget the creator's name, but like, anyways, you cannot tell me that he did not draw inspiration from Akira Toriyama for like a lot of this. Like, even like looking through the manga, and it's just like there's so much DBZ inspiration, it's like ridiculous. So I mean, a lot of these newer shows, and like they really draw a lot of inspiration from a lot of the more popular 90s titles, which is cool, you know. But yeah, it's like, you know, you're gonna watch the newer shows, then why not go back and watch
the older
stuff from the golden age? You know what I mean? I don't know.
Are you a Miyazaki fan?
Am I a Miyazaki fan? You know what? Togashi, there we go. Thank you so much. Am I a Miyazaki fan? You know what? I've actually never seen a Miyazaki movie. I have never seen I've never seen a Miyazaki movie. Like, I think I was actually supposed to go to an event honoring his work last year, and I never got to go because it got canceled for whatever reason. But like, I never got to like really see any of his smooth. Like, maybe I should do that this quarantine. Maybe I should do
You ain't
that.
doing nothing else. But let me recommend a few. If you want to cry, you can watch Howl's Moving Castle or Grave of the Fireflies, which is pretty depressing. If you want uplifting, My Neighbor Totoro or Kiki's Delivery Service. The
Yeah,
Wind
like
Rises
I'm
is
familiar with
pretty
all the
sad.
titles. I just never watched them. Kiki's Delivery Service, actually, I think I've seen in like elementary school, or I might be tripping. But yeah, I just never.
My favorite of his is Princess Mononoke, followed by Howl's Moving Castle. Um,
But funny
which
thing,
I know
like,
I'm
but
like,
Miyazaki. I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off. Sorry, but Miyazaki
no,
doesn't
no, go ahead.
consider his work anime. Like, he says, like, don't compare his work to anime. And so, like, I've always just
Well,
like
because
put it in a separate box.
he
So
has
I'm just
a
like,
very valid reason for hating the state of anime
oh
today.
yeah. His reasons are very valid. Like, I totally get it. He's like, look at what they've done. Like, it's like perverted. Like, it's all this stuff. And I'm just like, you know what, King, you're right. Like,
You like he's
drag
spitting straight facts.
like,
He
maybe
is
he has a
so
point.
thoroughly disgusted with the state of anime. I can't blame him because I feel the same. I go back and forth between anime as a product of the devil and it's the best thing ever. So like I go back and forth. But I'm curious to know, how did you get to this point where you're pretty much like the queen, the online queen of anime, and
Oh no.
like how did you get? Well, I can tell you, I remember I had a website in 2015 called the Anime Complexium, and I remember hearing about you then, but I think back then you were just writing. I don't remember what I had heard, but I started this
Yeah, like,
website, and I think
probably doing pretty bad nerdy stuff.
somebody suggested you as a writer for the site.
Mm.
Before I could get any other writers, the site went under because one, I couldn't afford it, and we were taking a massive amount of abuse. Because the site was focused on cosplayers of color and anime content, with people of color, black and brown folks, and women. That was the focus, and received a massive amount of abuse. I, even to this day, with my blue check mark and all that, I have never been as abused as I was when I started that website. People were,
Wow.
um, they were sending DOSs to the site, denial of service. Like people would try to hack certain
What?
writers' accounts on the site. Like, yeah, it was like bad because not only were we writing about topics that people usually don't fucking write about, we were exposing issues within those website exposed issues within the community, like blackface and cosplay, misogynoir among cosplayers. So people just didn't like that. So the site got up to 200,000 followers within like 6 months. I just quit. I was like, fuck it. I was like, I'll let somebody else handle it. Also, it was difficult to navigate at the time because a lot of places weren't writing about anime. So at the time, I think I wrote for Geek and Sundry about anime, and I was writing a little bit for the Nerdist. But then, the everything was sort of waxing and waning because people were waiting for Attack on Titan, and there was nothing really coming out that was grabbing people. So it was really difficult to navigate myself through the nerd sphere via anime. So I had to shift focus, and that's why I'm like writing about film and stuff, because at first I was writing all about animation. I was trying to be in that position because I always believe that Black women specifically need to be present in that community because we like that shit too.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really curious to hear about your trajectory, because I admire so much about what you do and how hard of a, you know, and how much of a fan you are and how authentic you are about the genre. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, I think like now, like I wouldn't consider myself the queen of anime. Like I'm so like flattered, like, but like, I mean, but like, there's so many, there's like so many other Black women on the internet that I've come to know. Like, there's Black Girls Anime. There's Eunice who created Black Girls Anime, and like she's doing a fantastic job spreading the holy gospel of like anime and like showing that like different types of Black girls are interested in this stuff and like there's King Crystal, who's like now an avid One Piece fan, who's like hilarious online and like just like showing her like, so there's like more of us, which is great because like I totally get what you're talking about, like because I'm sure like at the time of your website it probably we were still out here, but like we weren't as prominent in these
This
spaces
was
as maybe a lot of us.
2015.
2015. Okay, yeah. So like there wasn't like a movement, like not really like a movement, but like there wasn't like a push to like get Black women more visible in these communities, I guess. And now we have like Megan Thee Stallion, we have like a lot of these like prominent faces in different communities coming out and saying, hey, I love anime, fuck what you heard, like, and it's great. Anyways, but for me, I've always like been a weeb, like I've always been an anime fan, I've always been a nerd, like, ask my parents, ask my sisters, like anime was my first love. I used to be like very heavy on the manga. Like now I don't have time to read and collect manga as much as I used to, but whew, when I was in grade school, y'all, like any dollar, any dime that I got, I spent it on manga at Barnes and Noble, like
Mm-hmm.
period.
Same.
Yeah, and so I always knew before moving out of Dallas and coming to like Los Angeles, I always knew like I wanted to do something in anime, whether it was I was going to be like a mangaka and like make my own anime eventually, or like I was going to be a voice actor and like voice in anime, or and like hosting, like doing like the hosting stuff, like that didn't like really occur to me. I really wanted to be a voice actor or like a mangaka, like those are the two things. And like I didn't know like getting paid to talk about anime was a thing until I moved out here. Um, and so I just knew that I wanted to find a way where I can like still be my authentic nerdy self and enjoy what I'm doing without being forced to be like a different person. And I somehow managed to find my way inside this like little community, and I still consider myself like a smaller voice in the community, but like it's nice to see like to get messages from like other Black girls who are like, oh, I love seeing you like let your like anime flag fly, and like you're so like obsessed with XYZ and you don't care, like into anime, but I'm afraid to tell my parents, and like, or like I'm afraid to tell my like people bully me, but like I find confidence in like your content and like things like that, and it's like it's crazy because it's like 2020, like we like this shit, there's no hiding it
Right,
anymore.
right, right.
So I don't know, but it's always nice to see people finding some kind of I'm like losing the word, finding feeling like they can like go to my content to feel to kind of like fuel them, in their like nerdiness, I guess. I forgot the question you asked. I was rambling. I was rambling.
Yeah. I So you've gone to premieres, you've interviewed folks, you've been on, different shows to talk about it. And you finally have your own, seems like you have your own projects coming up. And that's the ultimate goal, right? Is to build within the community so that you can be comfortable creating. Um, and don't worry, we're gonna get to questions in a little bit, but to build your own community and you have the support. So this is like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm really happy to see it because back then there was a couple of us trying to do it. There was no support, and a lot of us just sort of moved on. There was no, a lot of people didn't see it as valuable. Writing and talking about anime, they didn't see any money in it at the time, and I fed into the bullshit but also like I needed to make money. So I
Mm.
was like, I'm gonna put this on the back burner and try again later. But I never got back around to it until recently when I wrote the review for Promare. That was the first time I had done anything anime related in like 5 years. Um, so it sort of renewed my interest in wanting to get back into things and seeing what's happening. What shows are, I know people like talk about My Hero Academia and
Mm.
Castlevania, um, which is actually on my list of things to watch during quarantine because it's short. So it's there seems to be I guess a third wave of good content coming out because for a long time I feel like for like a decade it was nothing but fan service.
Mm.
And I mean, what do you think of fan service? I know some of it is good, some of it is entertaining. Like I thought Kill la Kill was interesting because it was a deconstruction of the fan service genre,
Mm-hmm.
but then it spawned a whole bunch of fan service that was bad.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it had the opposite effect. But I don't know. What do you think?
I think if that's like what the anime is like supposed to be off the get go, then it's great because I know exactly what I'm getting myself into.
Right.
Big titty anime girls from the beginning, like, like I get it. Like, okay, this is what the show is. Do I want to continue? Do I care to continue? You know, I can make that choice from like the get go. But I think fan service gets a little much when it's just sprinkled into shows that have the ability to be like really top tier shows. Like for me, Fire Force is like a new anime that came out last year. And for me, I love Fire Force. But like what kills it for me is like the sprinkling in of fan service all the time but from one of the characters. And it's just like every time that happens, I'm just like, damn, like this show has so much potential, but you keep shoving this girl's titties in my face at unnecessary times, and it's just too much. Like I can only take so much. And so I feel like if you know what you're getting yourself into, if it explains like that this is what you're getting yourself into in the beginning, it's fine.
Right.
You know, whatever. If I'm watching, I'm a pervert. I don't know. You know, that like I decide that from the beginning. But if it's not the main focus of the show and you just find a way to sprinkle it in every once in a while, like not even every once in a while, like very like just like a little bit too much, you know, there's like an abundance of big titty girls in my face, then it's just like, okay, maybe maybe tone it down. Like, I don't know. But yeah, so that's how I feel about fan service. I feel like there's nothing wrong with it, but don't, you know, use it and fuck up my good anime because I'm like really trying to enjoy Fire Force and they keep
Don't
the
kill my
girls.
vibe.
You said what?
Don't kill my vibe.
Exactly. Stop ruining my freaking vibe. Like
I have recently. Okay, so I was on this anime trip where I was watching like real bad abusive stuff. Because at the time I was watching really depressing and extreme content, just to push the limits of like my mind and the type of things I could watch. So I was watching like Black Bible, um, uh, Blood Sea, um, God, School Days, Boku no Pico. Oh my
oh
God.
no, why
Yeah, like
would you watch that?
I was watching it because part of me is like, oh, it can't be that bad. It is.
It's
And the other, it's not only like that bad, it's like worse.
mm-hmm.
And then what else? Just like I watched a few, but School Days made me quit anime oh from 2007 to 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 to 2011. No anime. Because I saw School Days. I was like, I was like, I'm not doing this right now. And it wasn't until I was in the military. And so in my years, it wasn't until I got from overseas, my overseas assignment, and I got back to the States that I watched Strawberry Panic.
Mm.
And which, if you guys don't know, it's an anime about lesbians in boarding school. But it's not like hentai. It's cute. But School Days is about, it's a harem anime, but the animation itself and the drawings are so deceptive because it's like these cute little girls and they're in middle school and it looks like the cover looks like Sound Euphonium, where it's just like people being happy and oh my god, no, it was like it's about this kid who, like, all of these girls like this one dude, and it's literally about how they're having sex with each other. These are middle school students. They're having sex with each other. They're killing each other, and then at the end, like of the series, the one girl that he really liked gets killed by the one girl who's jealous. So she cuts off her head, and she gives her head to him, and he kills her, and then he gets in a boat and sails off into the sunset with her severed head, and it's like, oh, we can be together now. It was really some psycho shit. I was like, I don't
That
care
sounds
what
crazy.
I'm doing. No, thank you. And Boku no Pico is whatever. I mean,
Yeah, if well.
it's like, why do you like? That's why Miyazaki says like it's evil, because you get people who make shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so can you tell me about the one that you was talking about before? The one you were talking about online, the one that
Yeah,
you
yeah,
said it was a deceptive anime.
yeah. So there's like this anime called Shadow Star Narutaru, and I watched it when I was like maybe like in middle school, and it was like on like it was on like the porn channel, like like that really like high number channel that like they show porn later at night. But in the mornings they'll show like some cutesy anime shit like Narutaru and Super Gals and all that stuff. So like I watched it. It was on that channel, and I remember watching it and them only airing like the first couple episodes and then re-airing the first couple episodes every time. It would like keep showing the same episodes over and over every other day. And so I was like, I was really curious about it, and so I YouTubed it because everything was on YouTube back then. And so the anime is like psycho. Like it's literally about, I can't even like remember what the premise even was because there's just so much like crazy shit happening. Like this one girl, I don't even remember her name, but she was like getting like heavily bullied by these like mean girls at school, like to the point where like they tried to, oh, it's like crazy. Like they tried to like shove like a glass test tube in her. Like they tried to make her eat, like this one girl eat worms. And it was just like, they were like so mean to this girl. And like, I guess something formed from like her psyche for like her, like, I don't know if it was like from her psyche or something, but like this like giant beast was clearly, formed from this girl and ended up like killing all of her bullies, like chopping off one girl's head, like shoving worms in that girl and like chopping her head off and like killing her brother. The manga is way more savage. Like somebody actually told me to look up the manga, and so I did, and it's like way worse. Like just like I couldn't even believe like somebody actually sat down and drew this shit. Like somebody sat down and drew this shit. Like, and it's just like, it's like, why? I don't hear anybody ever talking about this show. Like, I don't know if it was a fever dream. Found out it's not. It actually is like a real show.
It
And
exists.
it just like reminds me of like crazy, how like crazy a lot of these like mangakas are sometimes with like their concepts. Because it starts off cutesy. It's like, hey, like the theme song is like this cute, this like little bop, it's like, yeah, okay. And then all of a sudden it goes into like all this other crazy buffoonery, and like I'm just like, all right, after I watched that I was like, no more, like no more crazy anime for me. We're good. We're good.
But it's deceptive because you look at the cover and you're like, oh, that looks like it could be cute, and then you start watching it and you're like, oh Jesus. You're like, oh
Mm-hmm.
no. You want to sprinkle holy water on yourself because it just,
I have to go to church
worse and
after
worse and
that.
worse. And it's cursed content. You stay a fucking way from that shit. I promise. You're not missing nothing. Um,
Yeah, no, that Naruto is cursed. I'll be the first one to tell you, it's cursed.
Please don't watch School Days or Boku no Pico. It's all cursed content. it's created by sociopaths. Don't watch it. Stay away from that. But I had that period where I was watching that type of anime. Thank God I stopped. But recently, the only thing I've been really watching is watching and reading is Junji Ito, who I've been a big fan of his work since Uzumaki, and I like I don't know if exclusivity is the right word, but I like that he writes so infrequently that like when stuff comes out, you're like, oh, I'm itching to grab it. And I think I'm really drawn to the horror genre within anime, as opposed to like some people like Magical Girl, or some people like shoujo, and I forgot what the action genre is called, but I've been drawn a lot to the horror genre and watching anime about women. So like Perfect Blue, or like Only Yesterday, or Millennium Actress, stuff about women's lives, and teaching my niece that there's more to anime than just one thing that she watches. Everybody has watched Naruto and everything like that, but there's more to anime than just that. It's like a whole league of genres. There's comedies and all that stuff. It's anime. It's not just for children. There's all kinds of shit, because I'm sure if you put on School Days and be like, this is for kids, they're gonna see some shit. So
yeah, like psych. We thought.
Yeah, like, nope, just kidding. So I've watched Junji Ito, like they created a show around his stories. So I've been watching that. And that's pretty old too. But I haven't seen anything recent. So do you have any recommendations on something that's OVA or relatively short that I can consume?
Do you want slightly like maybe early 2000s or like something?
Oh, I don't care.
Huh?
I don't care. I don't care. Time.
I think, and I'm gonna recommend this because you're Black. I think you would like. Have you seen Samurai Champloo? You've seen Samurai Champloo, okay. Let's see. All right. You've seen Full Metal Alchemist
cultured stuff
Brotherhood.
I've seen.
You said what?
Yeah. I said all the cultured stuff I've seen, like the stuff that merges cultures together, like Afro Samurai and Samurai Champloo with the anime and hip hop. I've seen a lot of those.
Have you seen what's about? Yeah, we talked about Afro Samurai. Have you seen? There's this one anime that so you've seen Yu Yu Hakusho, like you've seen like the icons. You've seen Rurouni Kenshin. What other samurai anime? You've seen Fruits Basket. Have you seen Fruits Basket? I would watch that. I would watch the newer Fruits Basket, the one that just came out in 2019. Someone said D and Angel. D and Angel is a really good one if you're like all about like light and dark and like angels and like hot dark angels.
No, I haven't.
Okay. Have you seen Nana? Nana's a classic.
Nana. That sounds familiar.
If you haven't seen Nana, then that's your homework. Go see Nana. Like Nana is a classic. Like yo.
Let me look up.
Yeah, look it up. Like Nana is amazing.
You know what? I have seen previews of it, and I like the animation, so I will watch it.
Okay, yeah, no, it's really good. Like, I think a lot of my art style was inspired by Nana when I was in high school. When I was in high school, I drew like so many characters inspired by that. I always hate like when somebody's like, "Oh, what do you watch?" And I'm just like thinking, I watch so much. Right. It's like, wait, what do I think of?
Sorry, I don't know. I was looking up Nana and I pressed the YouTube link, and all the episodes are there. Weird.
Oh, all of Nana. Oh, I believe it.
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Have you seen Carol and Tuesday?
No.
No. Okay. If you have Netflix, please watch Carol and Tuesday. I'm like such a big advocate for that anime. I like I stand hard. Um,
Is that
you
the
said
one where they have
Seven Deadly Sins
the
is pretty
women?
good. What'd you say?
Is that Carol and Tuesday? Is that the one where they're like singing fucking bullshit?
Yeah,
I
that's
can do
that's
it.
that's one of the songs.
Okay, Carol and Tuesday
Yes, please watch Carol. It's short, and you said you like short, so
and
it's short.
Nana. What about the one about the lady who? What about the one about the chick who lost her head? And was looking for her head, and she wears like a motorcycle helmet with cat ears.
Oh, uh, no, I'm tripping. Why am I like drawing a blank? I know somebody here knows it.
I'm gonna look it up. Dororo.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There we go. I was
Dororo.
like, I know somebody in here knows it. I actually never saw
Dororo.
that, but I had like a lot of friends.
Durara.
Yeah. There we go, Montel.
It's Dororo or Durarara? Dura. Is it any
I
good,
never
y'all?
actually
Is
never
that
saw
one
that
good?
anime.
In the comments, is that one a good one?
Is
You
it?
know, what other one I've been meaning to watch it that I heard was short? Claymore.
Claymore. Oh, Claymore. Yes, Claymore is good. They need to bring that shit back.
I
Oh,
like.
You should watch. Have you seen Michiko to Hatchin?
Oh, I've been saw that. I have that on DVD
Okay.
somewhere.
Okay. I'm like all the black anime. I'm just
All
like,
the
okay.
black.
You've seen obviously all the Shinichiro Watanabe's stuff. So like have you seen Space Dandy? Do you like funny, spontaneous anime like Shinichiro Watanabe's?
I've heard about Space Dandy. I'm gonna write it down.
It's very kooky. But the music is bomb. Like the music in the anime is so good. Like Shinichiro Watanabe is like one of my favorite creators. What else?
What do you think of Red Line?
You said who?
Red Line? Is that what it's called? Red Line. It's one about like racing.
Oh, somebody
It's
said
like
Magi. Somebody said Magi. Yes, definitely watch Magi. It's on Netflix, I think. Sword Art Online is really good. Fooly Cooly is really good.
I Sword Art Online is not my thing. I watched the first season through Force, and it just wasn't for me.
Is it like the genre that's not for you, like, or
I don't
is
think
it
that genre is for me.
okay?
I don't think that's for me.
Have you seen Excel Saga?
No.
Excel Saga is like a gag anime, so it's like really kooky. Like there's no real storyline, but it's basically about a girl named Excel who's like just trying to please her lord, and it's just like it's a parody of a lot of different anime, and it's like it's really funny. Like the shit, like, and the theme song slaps. Like it's really good.
Nodame Cantabile?
I
I
haven't
can't
seen that.
pronounce anything. Does anybody in the audience have any questions for us or for Cheyanne? Because I'm sure the clock is going to start ticking down. And once we end, we are ending because Instagram doesn't like for Black people to be great. I can tell you, every time I go on Instagram Live with Black women, it's always a fucking problem.
I know, because like, I don't think you can do live for more than an hour.
You can if you just do it again, but it only gives you an hour of time to shoot, and then you got to start back up again. But no questions. Okay, so I have my list of things. Can I give you some suggestions as well?
Yes, put Black Butler on your list.
Black Butler?
Yes.
Okay. I need to write so I can remind myself to watch Castlevania. All right, so this is enough. Okay, Carol and Tuesday, Nana, Durarara, Claymore, Space Dandy, XL, Black Butler, and Castlevania. That's my homework. That's what I'm gonna do.
Okay, that's your quarantine homework.
And then when that's over, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna get some more suggestions from you. But I I appreciate all that you do. I love your anime commentary and your content. I love all that shit. Um,
Oh, thank you.
I really just, hope that, you continue to forge those relationships with publicists and studios. So when shit come out, you be the first person that I go to about that kind of stuff. Because I really do still have a lot of love for anime, and I still really love the genre. I'm just waiting for that moment.
Mm.
And I want to see more content with Black people. Like I tried to watch Cannon Busters, I couldn't get into it. Um,
Oh no. Oh yeah. You know, I'm not even gonna lie. Same. I really had so much. I had so much love for like the Kickstarter, like when they had a Kickstarter and they like were starting out years ago, and I was like so excited that it was finally coming out. And for some reason, I could not get into it. I just couldn't. I just couldn't. It was like it wasn't like the sauce that I thought it was gonna be,
yeah, and
and I
not for
feel
lack
bad.
of trying. I mean, I tried to give it a chance. I watched the first 3 episodes, and I was like, I don't think this is for me. So I just would love to see more content like Michiko and Hachin, where we're seeing characters who may not be voiced by Black women, but they are visibly Black, and it's a different type of story. It takes place in it. It takes, the setting is different, and it's really interesting to hear how those animes like Samurai Champloo and Michiko and Hachin weren't popular when they came out. They didn't get cult status till like many years later.
Mm.
Um,
Mishiko
because
Mahachina, I think, still isn't even as popular as it. So, like, here's my thing. Like, Shinichiro Watanabe is like, I, I'm like, Shinichiro Watanabe is like low key, like, he's like for the niggas. Like, he's like for the people, low
mhm.
key. It's like a lot of his animes is like, inspired by a lot of like Black culture, hip hop culture, and it's like, and even Michiko Tahashi, while he didn't create that, he helped produce the soundtrack for it. So it's like he's always involved in these very like, I guess, African American, like Black inspired different animes, and I appreciate that because you can see that he respects it. Now I don't know, I've never talked to him, so I don't know, but you can
See,
see that he respects it enough to like infuse Japanese culture with it and like just create something like really cool and unique every time. So
somebody mentioned Gangster, Meridian
I have
Cast.
not
Now,
seen Gangster.
I, I, I recommend it, even though it's only one season, because I think the writer of the anime got real sick, and I don't know if she may have died, but she got
Oh
sick in
no.
the middle of it and didn't continue the manga, so they had no source material to go from. But the first season is like a deaf character, and I believe the female character is Black or Latinx. I'm not really sure, but she's visibly a woman of color, and the show has other people of color in it with power. So I really really like that. I just want to see more of that, and I hope
Hmm.
if my project gets off the ground the way that I'm thinking it will, I would like to create an anime about my own project that features Black and brown women at the helm. I've
Love
always
that.
wanted to create an anime. Anime. All right, so I'm
Same.
getting a countdown. Cheyanne, thank
Oh
you
no.
for joining me. She's mixed African and Italian. She didn't know that. I gotta check it out again. Thank you for the suggestions. Thank you for chatting with me. Looking forward to seeing more of what you do. And I hope you stay safe during
You
quarantine.
too.
Not go, I know it's driving people crazy, but gotta hold on. Um, yep, gotta hold on. And I learned a lot from this conversation, so thank you.
Of course. Thank you for having me, and I'm sure I'll see you like at a Comic-Con sometime next year.
I was gonna say that Comic Con 2021 because ain't nothing happening this year.
Wow.
Um,
Can't believe.
whatchamacallit still hasn't canceled yet. Dragon Con. They need to just go ahead
Oh
and just
no, they need
go
to go
ahead.
ahead and just like cancel that shit. Like,
They're
just
like,
go ahead
maybe,
and did it.
maybe. I'm like, there's no maybe. Just
They're holding on to hope, but it's like just cancel it. Like, just what are you waiting for?
New York Comic Con canceled. Canceled. Actually, I don't even think they can have New York Comic Con this year because where they have New York Comic Con, it's a hospital right now.
Oh yeah,
So you
they
think I'm
should
going to be
definitely
walking
cancel
up in
that.
there with all those people after all that stuff was in the air? No, thank you.
Everybody's
No,
holding on to like a string of hope, and it's like, okay, the string's getting a little bit small.
I know the strings
Please
get
kind of,
thin.
you
It's a
know,
little thin.
a little bit thin.
Thank you.
You know,
It's a little bit.
you know what it,
Thank you again, and let's keep in touch like we always do.
for sure, for sure, for sure.
All right, holla.
Bye.